Look, imagine what I know now more about breath. If everybody has the education, people can learn how you can heal yourself. Small changes in your life, how your emotions are, how you can change your emotions, how your mood is, how you can change everything, improve your HRV if you're in sports, everything. Because the thing that we do 22,000 times a day, now we are using that to become our power. Everything changes, everything.
Hi.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Hi.
How are you,
Okay,
Sri?
good. I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy to see your face.
Likewise.
Very, very happy. Well, we missed each other on the last call. That was my fault. I thought I was in the fifth dimension. I've been in so many different time zones. And so it's really great to see you here. Congratulations. Um, this is really exciting for so many, on so many levels, not just because this is an app that I really feel can help millions, you know, maybe more than that, billions of people across the world. Um, you've just put so much heart into it. And I gave the audience just a little bit of your story. I didn't want to give too much because I would really love for you to share, especially since some people have followed the journey and knows that there's been a little bit of an evolution from how Ziva first was sort of introduced to the community and what it's evolved into that's launched this week and launching at least to the community today in this sort of very informal introduction here. So if you wouldn't mind just to reintroduce and kind of talk about that journey, because I thought that was so beautiful and profound that day when you shared that revelation with me, which brought Ziva to what it is now.
No, definitely. First of all, gratitude, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to have this beautiful space here with my amazing friend. I mean, I can't ask for anything better. So I'm really, really deeply grateful that I have this opportunity. And I would like to share. It's a story. It's an interesting story. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you will relate to it. It's a touching story, but then what we have to see from that is the transformation that comes out of it. And I think that is the story of Ziva. So I went to India to surprise my dad when the COVID was 2021. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go here. I've been climbing all these icy mountains. I can show my dad what I can do now. I can connect to my breath. I'm becoming better and stronger. So I went there. I surprised him. He was very happy to see me. But then suddenly, he got sick. And at that time, it was March 2021, and the Indian COVID wave hasn't started yet. Like, the one that came afterwards, the Delta. So my dad was in hospital, and I was just spending time with him. I was jet lagged. I didn't get to rest. Basically just going to see him. And you can imagine, you're here to surprise your family, your
Mhm.
father. He ends up in hospital and in a very serious condition. So then during that time, I got COVID as well, but I didn't feel it at that time. But then one night, my dad was still in hospital. I had this oxygen attack. My oxygen levels started to drop. And then, I knew something is happening, but I have done enough breath work to keep oxygenating myself because my family was already going through so much, and but eventually the COVID started expanding in my body, and I had to go to hospital. And then when I found out in hospital, my dad situation is getting much worse. And then after that, when I got home after 2 days, my dad passed away. So it was really, and he passed away, and my whole body was broken. I didn't have any power inside of me. Um, a son in India has to carry his dad, help carrying his body across, take things to Ganges, and my body was just completely given up in terms of I was battling a huge delta. But that's where my breathing, the connection with my breath, gave me the power. And when you hear about so many stories about, okay, someone dad passed away or had this, and when you find yourself in that situation, that's when everything starts to see, look, it can happen to anybody at any time. And that's when I went deep into my breath. I'm like, you know what? I spoke to myself. I said, give me enough power to carry his body today. Every father would wait for this moment, like, that their son is able to do that. Please. I mean, I have climbed all these mountains. I've done all these things. But today, this is my biggest mountain. Let me pick up my dad and carry him all the way. So by tapping into my breath, I got the power. And outside, nobody knew what was I battling inside. I mean, basically, the COVID completely broke me. And I carried him. I did everything what I need to do. Then, afterwards, when I started to recover, I got back to US. And here, I faced the biggest uphill battle I've ever faced in my life. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was completely like, and we all go through this. It's so easy to not pretend that we are strong, but we all of us go through this. So when I got back, I was telling my kids, I don't feel it. I don't feel anything. And I couldn't sleep. I have a sleepless night and everything. That's when my breath gave me the power. I started tapping into my breath. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start breathing. I'm going to start counting. I'm going to focus on my breath. I know it will be a journey, but it will give me the power. So that's where the magical thing happened. In 2 months, I was fully recovered. I went back to my favorite place in Tahoe. I climbed the mountain again. And the breath gave me the power. Think about it. Something that we do 22,000 times a day. I call upon the biggest superpower of everything, the breathing that gives me life, to give me the power to heal and to connect me with myself back to who I am. So it gave me that power. And that's when I thought, look, imagine what I know now more about breath. If everybody has the education, people can learn how you can heal yourself. Small changes in your life, how your emotions are, how you can change your emotions, how your mood is, how you can change everything, improve your HRV if you're in sports, everything. Because the thing that we do 22,000 times a day, now we are using that to become our power. Everything changes, everything. And that's where I realized I need to do something. I need to come up with something. And when I was reading somewhere, I was like, a word came across Ziva. In Hebrew, Ziva means brightness and radiance. I'm like, this is my way of giving brightness and radiance to others so they can feel the connection and they can heal themselves.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, my friend. And um, I'm so grateful that you shared that story and that journey. Uh, and just that reminder for all of us that we are so empowered. There are so many healing tools within our own vessel. And we so often forget, so often you probably since COVID, I've talked about how we forget, we lost the reverence for our own selves, our own souls, our own vessels, our ability to heal ourselves, our ability to look within. And obviously I do nutrition and longevity, and there's so many things, and energy work, and clearly supplements and crystals, and there's so many tools, and they're all powerful. What I love so much about what you're sharing, because there's breath, and there's meditation, and breath can help guide us to meditation. Just the power of one breath is transformative. Of what? Just that deep inhalation and then that deep exhalation. And just doing that can completely shift your state. It can shift your emotional state, your mental state. It can shift your parasympathetic, your nervous system. And that's something that's such a powerful reminder that I feel like it's almost like the first, that first tool that then helps guide us to the other ones. So I'm so grateful, and I'm just so proud uh, that you've transformed this experience into something that's now become a tangible tool for everyone else to help use the tools within themselves. So I don't know if you have an extra phone for us to show. Do you by any chance have an extra phone? Because we're talking the phone, and I want everyone to be able to see this app. If you guys are on right now, oh wait, you can't. Can they download the app while we're on?
Yes.
You know.
So they
Okay.
have to go to, if you, right now it's just launch for iPhone.
Yes.
Next, it's going to launch for every other phone. So right now, if you have an iPhone, you can go to App Store and you can search either Ziva, Ziva Health, or you can Ziva Breath, and the app will come in. And it's actually, I will talk later on more about how it's different
Yes.
and what the bigger vision is, because I feel like whenever you talk breath, you got to talk bigger vision. A- And I think we'll dive more into it, and I'll be able to update, and how this can kind of help you on your daily journey. Because what it's all about is, think about it, small things. I was in a restaurant, and there was this person, she basically was having nonstop hiccups. I was able to go within 10 seconds, get her hiccups out completely just by breathing. There's special breath. Then sometimes you have an acid reflex, you can change that. Sometimes you have a completely, like, you are you're playing sports and you completely, your body is basically tired completely. There are ways you can recover
Yeah.
on the using the breath, right?
Yes. Yes.
So there are so many magical things, like, from GERD, from having a heartburn, and, to focus or enhance. So there's so many. So what I thought is, I think these days we all have so many things around us, like, so maybe what I can do is I can divide the breath into various parts. So what I did is I divided basically Ziva, especially the breath part of the Ziva, into 5 or 6 categories, like
Yes.
focus, energy, relax, health, and endurance. And that will allow people to dive into very easily and able to see what they want to do.
Yes, and it's such and again, I love the format, and sort of just how you're easing and walking people through by the introduction of those categories. And then I know that you also have there's another program that you guys are launching, and I'll let you talk about that towards the end. If there's someone actually either on my team or on the Ziva team, maybe you could drop a link into our comments here, and I'll see if I can pin it just so people know they can screenshot it and copy and paste it, or and that's a quick link over to the Apple Store,
Yes.
to the Ziva app, because there's a couple apps. I think that it's not the same. Of course, there's a meditation company also called Ziva Meditation. My dear friend from Leaf
Ziva,
London.
drop the app
Perfect.
link.
Okay, yeah, this is perfect right here. So, so, you know, before we even go there, uh, let's can we get to basics real quick, just for a couple minutes before we sort of transition and explain why we went from basics to these five categories. Uh, just for anyone who maybe jumped on or off in the last few minutes, maybe towards the end of your story even, just so people really can like grasp what one breath can do for you, what three breaths can do for you. We know the categories, but let's just talk for a second, not get too sciencey, but like let's just talk for a few minutes just what three breaths can do for you.
Yep. So I always, whenever I talk about breath, whenever breathing, and especially going into something, I always talk about exhale first. And there's a reason, and I can show you everybody right now live the reason.
Let's do it.
So, I want everyone just to take a breath, just take a deep breath, just from here, go like this here. Okay. Now come back down, back to your natural state. Now, after you've taken the deep breath, now I want you to exhale first fully. I want your belly to completely go inside. So exhale. Now inhale. You see basically after exhaling, you're opening up your breathing respiratory system to accept life, accept the present, accept everything that is coming in that's giving you power. But before I start with anything, I always tell, let's exhale what's gone. Let's bring in the new. And you can see when you exhale and you bring in the new breath in, feel the power of the new breath. That is basically elevating your well-being to a whole new level. So that's the first step in any breath. You start with exhaling.
So powerful. How many people even knew that? We're always taught the opposite. You know, we're taught to breathe in, then you breathe out. And it's such a difference. You breathe out first, you're releasing all of that. And then you breathe in, you actually breathe in deeper. You can actually bring more air into your lungs when you do
So
that.
I will connect with something amazing, and I think a lot of amazing people will understand me on this one. Before we invite a new life and new being and new change and new sunrise, we have to let go of the things. When we let go of the thing, that's when the beginning happens. So exhale is starting by letting it go. And then we are restarting our breathing again because what we want is coming in right now.
Yes. Yes. And you're creating that space. Almost that vastness within you, the vastness that's outside of you, the vastness that's all of us, you're sort of like bringing in. People already feel the difference. Thank you guys for commenting.
Thank you
And it's
so
a
much.
difference. It's a big difference. And it's the smallest and biggest difference just to exhale out first. It's so powerful.
And the magic of three breaths. So let me also tell you about the magic of three breaths in a very simple example way, and the people can understand. I actually call that as a three breath rule. It's my so have you ever got an alarm in the morning
An
and
alarm.
and most probably your finger is going towards the snooze button. If within the three breaths, if you hit the snooze button, you hit it and you get up. No, you basically don't hit it, you get up. But if you don't do that, what happens in our brain is our brain goes into overthinking mode. And it basically allows brain idea is to always protect. If you want to jump from somewhere, what the brain does, don't do it. I want to go to climb Himalayas. First thing the brain will do is no, it's going to be very cold. Correct? So the goal is with three breaths is whenever you want to make a difference, whenever you are able to not get your brain going into overthinking and all those things, within those three breath cycle, use this breathing power and get things done. Example, have you ever noticed you're trying to have a cold shower or you're going into an ice bath and you're looking at the water and you're touching it and you're looking and you're touching and looking and the cycle and you next thing you realize is like 1 minute, 2 minutes, right? Because now the brain is going into overdrive. So the best way to beat any overdrive is always remember within the first three breaths, because those are the breaths that are basically allowing your mind to control it and take the action before it goes into overdrive. And even if it goes into overdrive, breath still has the power to override sensation.
Yeah.
But the goal is within those 3 seconds, make your move. Three breaths, make your move. So I've seen that many times. I like everybody else. Sometimes I like to click on the snooze, but I know that if I don't, and three breaths, and if I get up, I'm set.
Yeah.
So three breaths can change your life. Three breaths can change from inaction to action. Three breaths can save your friendship from getting destroyed to save. Because it's the difference between three breaths. While you're arguing, you can right now change everything. So within three breaths, you can change your life, you can change friendship, you can change something that you want to actually do. Because sometimes what happens is you have lots of ideas and you're like, yes, I'm going to do this. But then what happens? We move on to something else. We move on. We live in a destructive world. So use that three breaths to create your own focused world where you
Mhm.
don't let the mind take you towards inaction.
Mm. Beautiful. Such a good reminder. And that's just with three, you know. And Ziva's offering all of these different types of breathing and just for mental wellness. And then plus, as you mentioned, these other health, health, I don't want to say conditions, I guess. You mentioned Sam, you mentioned GERD, you talked about hiccups. Let's talk about those 5 categories that you sort of, uh, I don't summarize, broken down, just simplified, using as a guide.
I'll and I'll tell everybody why Ziva has done something very different. When you when you have a heart condition and you want to do energy breaths, nobody asks you that. People are like, okay, let's just go full on energy. Well, you have a heart condition. You cannot go at 100% speed. So that's why Ziva asks you, when you join Ziva app, we ask you, what condition do you have? Just to know, just for our systems to work. Okay, you have a heart condition and you have a goal of energy. Now we have to be very careful. Do you want energy, but you have a heart condition. So now we have to find breaths that can give energy, but at the same time doesn't increase the speed and intensity so it affects your heart condition, correct? So that's why Ziva is not just you go to any app or you just click and let's do it. Ziva wants to know you. That's what personalized care is. We want to know you. Do you have diabetes? Do you have heart conditions? So we can accordingly create a routine for you. So you know your goals. That's why, okay, I have this condition. My goal is to sleep better, stress less, and have who doesn't want that? I mean, that's an right. So Ziva will say, okay, these are the breathings that you can go for example, for sleep better. Now let's go to the sleep category. Now there are root sleep breathings. So before you sleep, one of the breathing is very famous one that is 478. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know about it. It guides you through the 478. And there's other breathing that kind of calms you down and takes you into that state where you feel really, relaxed and you fall asleep. Now, this is unguided session. So there are lots of unguided sessions that are based on countings. Now, if you go back to relax, we have a breathing called chillax. So in chillax, the idea, the concept of chillax was when things are going all over the place, you can't take it anymore. That's the time your body need to chill and relax. So we combined it and we made it chillax. So the goal of chillax is like, your body's tense, you're tense completely, just come up and with a sigh, completely let it go, right? So we use a double inhale method in this one. So there are different types of breathing. And there is guided sessions in these categories. For example, when you have calm category, then there's a breathing in energy category called awake. A lot of people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people here love their coffee. And once again, I'm not cutting your coffee. but, but the idea is if you get up, and I think a lot of research has shown that your body should not be having coffee right after getting up. There should be delay between you wake up and you have coffee.
Yes.
You can have you can do an awake breathing, which pretty much oxygenating all your tissues and your body and getting it naturally. And that's the great thing about it. So that's why we divided these categories in such a way so that way it's daily use. People, I focused on things that happen daily basis in different ways. In between meetings, you sometimes you can get like, you had a tense meeting and people are doing back-to-back meeting. I think back-to-back meeting is something that needs to be back-to-back gap, back-to-back gap, and back-to-back. So there's no gap lately. So the 2 minute breathing that we designed was after you finish your meeting, let's get your mind settled, let's get everything recovered and take you fully, active now in the next meeting.
And that's actually necessary. It literally can reset. You guys, I do a lot of back to back meetings, but as Parveen said, just this program just just a 2 minute, just that 2 minute reset, it's, it's a refresher. It's as if you weren't just coming from another meeting. And I love it that it kind of brings you present, sets the tone, puts you in the state that you wanted to be in for that next meeting, which is not just for yourself, but also for whoever you're meeting with, so that they have your full presence. And it's it's like a clean, crisp space, so to speak, just from that 2 minutes. Um, the other thing that I'd really like to point out to our audience is how intuitive, this app is, the way you guys have designed it, how intuitive it is, just the software, everything that we share while we're using it. There's a learning, and that learning then applies to a build for a way for the app to continue to help you as you move forward, as you advance, not just in your choices in those categories, but there will be other programs. There's always more that's being added to the app to help support all of us. And you have a couple special programs that you're launching as well, right?
Yes. So we are launching. So right now, I feel like education is the key,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Absolutely.
all of us at one time in our life, we get educated. I mean, I see Serena special like nutrition advice. I'm like, oh, this sounds really, this looks nice. Have a lot of benefits. She's done her research. So let's try it out. Education is opening the waves to basically accept things. So what Ziva, the goal for Ziva is instead of just focusing on creating an app where people can keep reading, there's a lot of different apps, like, or the goal is bring people, first of all, understanding their condition, their goal, then bring them into education.
Right.
So we program. So there's a breathing everyday life program. That program is, I think, about few weeks program. Every day is a lesson. And that program takes you completely understanding the mechanics of breathing. For example, how to start breathing. First, starting with breath awareness, then going into learning about breathing through nose, how to breathe. And, it talks about everything in terms of like, how the sleep and the mouth breathing and how we can all kind of behind the science, we can all help ourselves to be better breathers. Well,
Mhm. Oh.
something that we do 22,000 times a day, we should be good, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes.
And the programs are very good because after you learn a program, it gives you um, a task to do. So the program, like for lesson. So program is consistent of lesson, like one program has 2 lessons, for example. So once you finish your lesson, there's an action item. So maybe tell you, okay, let's practice 2 minutes of mindful breathing. I mean, that's what you learned. Let's practice nose breathing. And then you can add those breathings to your routine. The goal is if you learn something and you do not apply, what happens to the learning?
Mhm.
So Ziva is connected. So every time you learn something, Ziva offers a routine, and the routine gets connected to your routine side of the app, which reminds you, okay, Praveen, this is your routine.
Mhm.
And we have a Ziva score. Ziva,
Which I love.
the Ziva score is actually very amazing because Ziva score works on your engagement.
Mhm.
So let's say we believe everybody should find all together. I'm not saying in one go, in a day between your meetings, before sleep, getting up in the morning, have 30 minutes focus on your breathing.
Ugh,
So
so powerful.
could start with 5 minutes in the morning, could start with 5 minutes at night.
Mhm.
Now, when you do the 30 minutes, your score for that day, you get a percentage score high. Then you finish your things, then you get a bonus. And then when you check in, because the goal for us is we want to check in with you because when Ziva knows, okay, I'm sleeping better, but I'm still having trouble with energy. Because even though 1 month ago you said something else on your initial sign up, things might be different. So then Ziva turns around and say, okay, you're still having energy issues? Guess what? We have something else for you.
Mm.
And where we want to make sure we are proactively trying to understand our people. It's not just an app where you click, do your breathing, you go back. This app has smart learning in it.
Yes.
We understand you. We and I'll go back into variables later on. So it's not just that. We are talking about measuring yourself. And then once we have that, then you have these programs to help you. Now, you did mention some exciting program. I will mention one program that will blow everybody away here. So a lot of people would not believe that breathing could actually be a very, very high way of losing weight, learning and basically easing your metabolism, activating the fire inside
Yes.
can make a big difference in your weight loss journey. So we'll be launching that program. We have an amazing program called Rest Well program, and the Rest Well program is all about sleep. Sleep. I mean, I personally had lots of sleep issues, especially when I came back. So this program goes into the science, understanding the thought process, and everything that we do as human to keep ourselves awake. Because we are battling. You know, if we don't sleep for 2 nights, then we are saying, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Now I don't sleep tonight. I'm saying, oh, I'm so tired now. I can't continue. My life is. So these thoughts about to happen. Then the program is designed in such a way, okay, talk about these thoughts, talk about the breathing process, talk about the action process, and then getting your body back into the rest state. And this program actually has every information that I faced when I came, and I put everything in a very routine task format so you can understand from it. And I also mentioned some of the herbs, like, that really help, like, all these herbs that I personally use, like, and then, some of those things that you can include in your daily life. So that's where this program is. And that's where the education comes into play, Serena.
I love it. And as everyone knows here, we are so education driven. It is the most important part of your day, of every day, to continue to keep your mind plastic, to continue to learn. And these tools actually helps the other. So this the Ziva not just helps all these different ways you can help yourself with the power of breath and breath work that we'll be able to learn here, but just the learning of it. Anytime you teach your brain something new, just a little, just exhaling before you inhale. Anytime you can learn something just a little bit new, a little bit different, you're actually strengthening your mind. You're keeping your mind plastic. You're forming new wires. And so, in so many ways, just the education content on the breath helps with the breath, but it helps your brain as well. So there's just so much amazingness packed into this app. I'm so excited to talk more about it. I know that we were supposed to wrap a few minutes ago, but what do you think about, we give people a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks to dive in. And I know that there's incredible community support. That's another thing that I really want to mention about that. There's such great community and back end support. If you have a question about it, I see David tried it as well. If there's a question and you ask, there's a question area for that, they respond immediately, so it's, you instantly already feel connected and supported just downloading and filling it out and going through some simple steps. um I'd love to kind of come back together here, Parveen, and just and have an open forum, maybe, if people have questions. What do you think?
And we are always looking, I'm not saying the first day this is going to be, everything's going to work as it is. There are some areas we already know. We're trying to fix it. We're trying to launch app another version. But think it this way. We are looking at basically measure. We talk about knowing yourself, connecting deeper. All the devices, all of you have some level of device going on you. Ziva connects with every device. So right now we are connecting with Apple Health, expanding to Google. The goal for it is the way we work is we're not just saying do this. We know how you're sleeping. The data is coming in. We know your resting heart rate is going from 46 to 55. What's going on here? We can see the trend. Rise, jump. We can see your HRV going from 70 or 80 dropping to 40. What's going on here? Is this some event? Ziva is becoming a friend. We know something is going on and we need to be proactive. The future of air, the future of care is proactive. The future of care is measured. If we all will be measured through, the glucose monitors, to all those things here, and automatically, and now Apple Watch just announced, Apple Watch, they're going to have sleep apnea tracking and hypertension through the watch. So we'll be able to data on hypertension. For example, if your blood pressure is rising, we'll be able to right away send you the breathing and other recommendation to calm you down, to get you in the state. So that's what Ziva is hoping for. And then Ziva will be able to study your pattern itself and come back and say, we see that you had amazing sleep for 3 months, and for last 2 weeks, your deep sleep has gone down by 50%. We know something's going on. So the goal is, how can we serve you with knowing you better? And that's where Ziva is, breathing as is the main tool that we use. But Ziva app is basically creating a full health care through and able to kind of work on it. So next version of the app will have a big AI engine. Right now, you can use a Breathwork coach at the moment.
Yeah.
They will, but the next version, your coach will be so smart, it will be able to talk to you. It will be able to give you all information. You can ask them. It will be able to go into your health data and tell you how you can improve your resting heart rate. You can even talk about your sports performance. For example, you've been working hard 3 days and your HRV, especially on the day you work hard, is going down. We'll be able to tell you about recovery techniques and then monitor if the recovery is taking place or not. And the power of data. So that's why when we look at it, we're like, okay, breathing is our tool, but we are looking at big picture.
Yes.
We want to transform lives using technology, using the ancient techniques, but most of all, bringing you guys connection with it.
Yes, so beautiful. I'm so excited. I'm so honored and grateful to be a part of your board. It's been such a
Me-
beautiful journey. I know the members of my community know that, but I'm reminding them again. And, the future and just what you're describing is amazing. And I know we've talked about it, but every time you talk about it, I get so excited. And just these first steps, you guys, get on the app, download the app, start understanding yourself, letting the app help you help yourself. And all this data goes into what's coming in the future. So I'm super excited. I'm excited to come back together, in a few weeks, or not, just to share and see what people are thinking, how excited they are about it, how they've used it. I think that would be really fun. And then that actually helps contribute towards what's coming too. So
I, I have one advice for people is, when you are on the app, any breathing, please go on the breathing and read the description, all the details, because you would love to know how it works.
yeah.
So my is to give you guys the whole science facts, not just tell you to do something. I read the description, understand, and then you'll see the power and it will feel more connected.
Yeah, I mean, that helps with integration 100%. Like, once you know and understand why you're doing something, what it's doing for your body, you receive it in a different way. You don't have to remember and memorize and count. It becomes you. It becomes part of your process. So I I I agree entirely, and I back that up. Go read it, understand it, integrate it, and we're gonna see you guys back here soon. I don't know exactly what the date is, but we'll figure it out.
100%. And thank you, everyone. Gratitude from my heart. And I'm sending all of you a gift of breath. May this bread change your life, bring you most happiness and everything that you want.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend.
Take care. Bye bye.